Good morning. Welcome back to another art lesson. Now that the weather is starting to get a little bit colder outside, I thought it would be fun if we did a hot cocoa project. So, we are going to be drawing a hot cocoa mug with a patterned background and table. All you're going to need for today is a blank sheet of white paper, any size will do, a pencil, and probably an eraser. You can turn your paper whichever way you want. It can go portrait position, which is up and down, or it can go landscape position, which is side to side. I am going to stick with landscape position. So I'm going to keep my paper just like this. Now, we want our hot cocoa mug to be the center of our drawing. So we want to make sure that it's nice and big. It's going to fill up most of the page, okay? It's like we're focusing in on this hot cocoa mug. So I want this to actually look like there's hot cocoa inside of it. So I am going to draw an oval so that it looks like the inside of the mug, okay? Now, on the very outside of that oval, I am going to draw a curved line that comes down. Okay, just like that. Now, one thing I see a lot of with this project is some people do an oval and then they do this. Okay, well, don't do it like that because you're not on the very edge of that oval. So you want to make sure you're on the very edge. Okay. All righty, so I'm going to go back to my front page. Now I'm going to connect the bottom of the hot cocoa mug. There we go. Once that's done, we want to add a handle to the hot cocoa mug. You can put your handle on either side. It's up to you. So it's almost going to look like an ear coming off the side of your mug. And then I'm going to double it up so that it looks like a shape, okay? Now, if you want to get kind of fancy, you can add a little bottom to your mug. That's up to you. So mine just kind of looks like it's going off the bottom of the page. That's your choice. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a line that goes behind the hot cocoa mug. The reason why we are adding a line is so that it looks like the mug is sitting on a table or a countertop. So you can now see the background and the table. Our hot cocoa mug no longer looks like it's floating in the air. Okay, now one of the best things about hot cocoa is the marshmallows, right? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another curved line back here so that it looks like the cocoa is actually inside. And now I get to add all of my fun marshmallows. So I'm just going to add some rectangles inside, kind of floating around. Now I'm not going to draw too many because if you do too many marshmallows, then it's going to be really hard for you to color in the hot cocoa. Okay, and now I want to add just a few wiggly lines so that it looks like there's actual liquid in the cup. Okay, now hot cocoa is really, really hot. So I want to add some steam lines coming off the top of the mug. So it's just kind of like a wiggly line. Well, right now that looks just like a line. We want to turn it into a shape. So I am just going to double up those lines. Double them up. Okay, so now you can see the steam lines a little bit better. Now, right now, this hot cocoa mug looks kind of boring, doesn't it? Yeah. So we are going to add some lines, some shapes, and some patterns to our mug. Now, we're not going to draw a bunch of pictures. We're not going to draw a portrait of your family or your dog. We're just going to add some lines, shapes, and patterns. So I'm just going to kind of start down here at the bottom. And I'm going to start with just maybe some stripes. So I'm going to do 3 stripes down here at the bottom. Now yours can look different than mine. That's a nice thing about being an artist. You can make your own choices and everything will look different. Not everyone's is going to look the same. Maybe I want to add some polka dots. There we go. Maybe I'm going to add another stripe. So I want you to kind of remember some of those lines that we've talked about in the past. And then maybe I'm going to add kind of like one of those like wavy lines that we used to talk about. There we go. And then maybe I'm going to do like a castle line all the way across. And then maybe I'm going to do a zigzag line. And I think I'm just going to do some stripes along the top, some vertical stripes. Vertical means up and down. Now these lines do not touch each other. I'm spreading them out. Okay, now if I wanted to, I could go back in and I could add some details onto these other parts. Maybe I want to do maybe a little square inside that castle line. There we go. Okay, now you can also decorate the handle. Don't forget that part. So if you want to do stripes or polka dots or a wiggly line, that's up to you. It's your hot cocoa mug. All right, once that's done, then I want you to get out a Sharpie. If you don't have a Sharpie, well, then you can just use a black marker or you can use like a black colored pencil. That's up to you. And you are just going to trace over your pencil line. So it's going to look just like a coloring book. Now, if you accidentally go off your pencil line or you make a mistake, just try to get back on track. You can use your eraser and you can go in and erase those pencil lines that show through. Looks like my Sharpie's starting to run out there a little bit. I'm going to use a different one. That one's a little bit better. Now, I'm not coloring anything in yet. I'm still tracing. Now, this is going to be probably like a 2, maybe a 3-day project, depending on how we break up the steps. So we're not going to finish this today. You're just going to work on some of the first steps. I'm just continuing all the way around, tracing it all. Now, if I'm going too fast for you, just pause the video, and then you can catch up with me. And trace all of my lines. All right. And then you're just going to continue tracing over the rest of your patterns. Now I am just going to stop there, okay? Because you don't need to keep watching me just trace. I'm going to show you the next step, okay? So if you want to stop there for the day and then take a little break, that's fine. Or if you want to continue on and you want to keep working, well, then you'll just continue the video and you'll keep moving right along. Okay, so for the background, we are going to add some stripes. Now you can draw stripes that go straight down, and you could use a ruler if you wanted to, or you can just do a wiggly line, and it's going to go right behind your hot cocoa mug. So I'm not going to draw that line through it. I'm going to stop once I get to the hot cocoa mug. You got to be kind of careful because your steam lines are still up there. These lines do not touch each other. I need to spread them out. Now this one's kind of tricky because it still goes behind the handle. There we go. All right, so now the background is done. The next thing I'm going to do is the tabletop. Now the tabletop, I want it to look like a wooden table. So I'm going to use a brown marker. And if you don't have a brown marker, you can just use a brown colored pencil, or you can just use a brown crayon and just press down hard. We want to make this look like a wooden table. So I'm going to add some texture lines. Texture is the way something feels. And we want this to look like a real wooden table. So I am just going to add some of those wooden lines, like wood grain that you would see on a real table. Also, those lines do not touch each other, okay? Then I'm going to take my brown crayon and I'm just going to color in very lightly on top of those lines. I'm not going to press down super hard because if I were, I'm just going to end up covering up all of those marker lines, and we don't want that to happen. And I would do both sides. Now for the background, I'm just going to pick two of my favorite colors, just two of them, that's all. All right, here we go. And I'm just going to do a pattern in the background. So maybe I'm going to do pink and blue. So I'm going to do an A-B pattern. So it's going to go pink, blue, pink, blue, pink, blue, pink, blue, all the way across. Now, when you're coloring these stripes in, I don't want to see any white spots showing. I'm just coloring mine in quickly, just so you can see. Now the steam, you're just going to leave that white. So I'm just going to color right around it. There we go. And then I would continue on with my pattern all the way across. Now I need to color in my hot cocoa and my hot cocoa mug. So I'm just going to color in the hot cocoa brown, leaving the marshmallows white. Okay. Now, the back of this is still your hot cocoa mug. So when you go to color in your mug, don't forget about this little back part. This is still the mug. Okay, now I'm going to start coloring in the actual mug and all of the patterns. Now, we want this to be a really colorful mug. We're not just going to take our crayon with one color and then just go across it, okay? I want this to be really colorful. And then maybe I'm going to switch colors. Now, once your entire mug is colored in, and your table, and your background, then this project is finished, okay? You can take a picture of it and upload it into Google Classroom. Now, before you go, I want to talk about one little thing. This part right here behind your handle, that is still your table, and that is still your background. So when you are coloring in your wall, make sure you are still coloring in this space, okay? The only thing that should be white on your paper are the steam marks and your marshmallows. This is where I am going to stop because I don't think you need to watch me color everything in, okay? I would rather have you go and start your own. So once you're done, like I said, upload your final photo into Google Classroom. I will grade it, leave a comment, and I will return it to you. This is going to be a longer project, so pace yourself. I am uploading all of it. So this is probably going to be a 3-week project, okay? So it's not due for a while, but you need to keep working on it. Or you can sit down and work on it in one day. That's your choice, okay? So I will talk to you guys soon. Good luck working on your hot cocoa mugs.